Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We appreciate you being here with us today. My name is Ira Cronin. I'm the Public Relations Manager with the Colorado Springs Police Department. I'm joined behind me today by Mr. Andre Stencil. He's the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Corrections, Colorado Springs Police Chief, Chief of Police Adrian Vasquez, Colorado Springs Mayor Yemi Mobolade, District Attorney Michael Allen with the 4th Judicial District District Attorney's Office, Battalion Chief Tim De Leon with Colorado Springs Fire Department, and Mr. Lonnie Kramer, who is the President and CEO for UC Health Southern Colorado Region. We'll be handing out some prepared media packets for you at the conclusion of this. This will have everyone's title and name spelling, so we're not going to do any of that as we proceed through the press conference. But again, please get with me after. We'll make sure we get you that packet, and that will happen at the conclusion. We will also be sending out that packet electronically to our distribution list. So if you regularly get our stuff, that will come. If you don't, get with me directly after, and I will make sure that you get all the information that you need. So I'll make some opening remarks to update the latest information that's releasable at this time about the case, and then I will be followed by brief remarks from Director Stencil with the Department of Corrections. He will be followed by Police Chief Adrian Vasquez, who will be followed by Mayor Yemi Mobolade, and finally we'll hear from District Attorney Michael Allen. We'll then take a few questions, and then that will conclude our press conference. There will not be any breakouts or one-on-ones available after this press conference when we conclude our question and answer. On September 28th, 2023, at approximately 3:49 p.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department received reports of an auto pedestrian crash at the intersection of North Spruce and East Bijou Street. Upon arrival, our officers determined that 3 parole officers had attempted to contact a suspect who was known to them in the parking lot of a business at that intersection. The suspect was in a car when officers attempted to check his welfare and make contact. In an attempt to flee, the suspect struck 2 of the parole officers with his vehicle and then fled the location. The 2 patrol officers were then transported to UC Health Memorial Central, where one of the officers did die as a result of their injuries, and the second was treated and released last night from UC Health Memorial. The Colorado Springs Police Department, as well as other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, immediately began a large-scale search for the suspect, including the release of a state alert that's called a Blue Alert. This alert identified both the suspect and the suspect vehicle information that we were seeking. As a result of the Blue Alert, multiple community members contacted the Colorado Springs Police Department, reporting the location of the suspect vehicle. Officers responded to that location and were able to locate the vehicle in question. While working to take the suspect into custody, an emergency alert to shelter in place was sent out to the 400 block of Glenview Court in Colorado Springs. Officers were able to locate the suspect and take him into custody without further incident. We are seeking an arrest warrant at this time for multiple crimes, including manslaughter, leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death, and 3rd-degree assault on a peace officer. This remains a very active and fluid investigation. Our investigators continue working very hard. We ask that anyone who may have information or who is a witness to this investigation to please call the Colorado Springs Police Department at 719-444-7000. Or if you wish to remain anonymous but you do have information, you can report that through the Crime Stoppers tip line at 719-634-STOP or 634-7867. There's also an 800 number, 800-222-8477. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Executive Director Stencil.
All right. It's with great sadness that I inform you that the officer we lost last night was Officer Christine Guerin Sandoval. Christine was a mother, she was a daughter, she was a wife, and she was a protector. Christine took an oath and that oath was to protect the citizens of the state of Colorado, and she lost her life doing just that. Today we mourn her loss with our friends and families and the entire Department of Corrections. The mission of the Department of Corrections is to build a safer Colorado, and Christine was doing just that when she lost her life. She was serving the community. The other officer, like I previously stated, was released last night, and we're not going to release her name right now out of privacy for her, but she's at home recovering well. I want to thank all of the CSPD and all the regional law enforcement partners for their continued support, and we'll continue to stand together as the investigation proceeds and support the friends and family of Christine. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Chief Vasquez.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here to cover this important press conference. You know, I'm truly saddened and heartbroken by the loss of a great servant to our community in this region. We mourn with the family of Officer Christine Guerin Sandoval and our brothers and sisters at the Colorado Department of Corrections Parole. Although parole officers have a different role in our community, they are keeping our community safe. And they wear they're the same officers as those you see wearing the Colorado Springs Police Department uniform. We go through the same training, and our job is to protect and serve our communities. They take an oath, just like we do, to protect and serve, really just to keep all of us safe. My officers and firefighters with the Colorado Springs Fire Department are deeply impacted by this loss. It hits us all deep in the core because of the work that we do on a daily basis. So thank you to the numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies and partners who stepped up to help us with Officer Guerin Sandoval's case. As always, we've shown the great partnerships and the strong relationships that have been built over time here in this region. I also want to thank my officers and members of the Colorado Springs Fire Department who provided initial response and provided immediate medical care at the scene, and the staff at Memorial Hospital who did everything they could for these officers. And finally, I want to thank our community members who responded so quickly to our statewide blue alert regarding the suspect. Please know that your calls truly did make a difference, and your support continues to matter to our officers here in this region. While the suspect has been arrested, we'll continue to investigate this incident thoroughly, revealing all the facts that we can. And we will be providing the best investigation to the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office. All of CSPD will continue to support the Colorado Department of Corrections Parole, the involved officers, and their families. Tragedies like this cannot become commonplace or accepted as signs of our times. And I want Officer Guerin Sandoval's family to know that we stand with you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mayor Yemi Mobilati. Thank you again for being here.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today under the circumstances that weigh heavily on our hearts. Today our community is still in shock. Our hearts and prayers are first and foremost with the family and friends of Officer Christine Guerin Sandoval and the entire Colorado Department of Corrections family, as well as with the members of our law enforcement community. We stand with our law enforcement officers across this great state and our nation during this time of loss. This event reminds us of the dangerous complexities of the work of our law enforcement officers and what they face. It also underscores the need for us as a community to support the women and men who are sworn to keep our community safe. The weight of the badge is indeed heavy. In the coming days, I urge our community to respect the wishes of the affected families, and as the investigation unfolds, to respect the process. I also urge our community to support one another during this difficult time, and I need you to support Blue, the women and men in law enforcement who put their lives on the line for us. Thank you to the Colorado Springs Fire Department for arriving on the scene as soon as possible to provide medical support, and to the Colorado Springs Police Department and our regional law enforcement partners who took action last night to apprehend the suspect. And to our medical partners at UC Health Memorial, thank you for your hospitality and for your professionalism. To our friends and family members at the Colorado Department of Corrections, under the leadership of Andre Stanso, we see you, we stand with you, and we share in your grief. Friends, in the face of tragedy, our true strength as a community lies in our ability to come together, care for one another, and support each other during these challenging times. May we work together towards a future where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued. And may we honor the memory of Officer Christine Guerin Sandoval by living with courage, empathy, humility, and unity. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Michael Allen, our district attorney, to the podium.
On behalf of the DA's office, I want to express our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of parole officer Christine Guerin Sandoval. She, like officers who serve in uniform every single day, served to protect our community, and she gave her life in service to our community. In the coming days, as CSPD works the investigation, they will turn the case over to our office. We will review that case and we'll file the appropriate charges under the law and given the facts of the case. As is always the case, we will not try this case in the media, and we are going to be respectful of our ethical obligations as it relates to the information that we can share. And I know that the investigative agencies involved here will also respect those requirements. And the reason for that is that we want to be able to make sure that we can have a fair and appropriate prosecution effort as we move into that phase of this effort. But I do want to express my thanks to Colorado Springs Police Department for their always professional approach to these types of investigations, to Department of Corrections and all the parole officers who are hurting today at the loss of Christine, and know that we will be taking this case as seriously as we possibly can as we move into the prosecution phase. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that. We will open it up for a few questions. Again, we're going to be very limited in what we can address in terms of the specifics of the ongoing investigation, but we'll do the best we can to get you the information you need.
I'll ask you, can you tell us more about this call? What led up to the interaction between the two parole officers and the suspect?
Yeah, again, sorry for anyone who's watching on the streaming. Again, the question is to Director Stencil about the nature of the call that the parole officers were working.
They were serving a warrant, and we had received information of his location, and they were going to serve that warrant.
We'll have that for you in the packet. We've got it in the press release. If we can give it to you then, thank you. Anyone? Okay. Yes, ma'am? Three parole officers, yes, attempted to check the welfare of the suspect. Ashley? I don't know if we're releasing that information at this time. No. We will, there is a picture that the family has provided. That will be in the press packet that we send out. So, but we're not releasing her age at this time.
What agencies responded to the
I don't have all the specifics. I know that some of our tactical folks were involved. But again, it was, really the key to that was, the community who stepped forward and called in that suspect vehicle location here to the Colorado Springs Police Department. But again, it was multiple agencies who had been responding really since the accident. We had the vehicle description, the plate. So it was, again, there were multiple local federal law enforcements. Many, I can get you the specifics after, for sure.
How was the worker check? Was in his car or his house?
As we stated in the press release, when the parole officers approached the suspect, he was in his vehicle.
In his vehicle. So were two females parole officers or two females?
I believe it was 2 female and 1 male parole officer.
I'll also ask you this. Do you look at your procedures for these types of high-risk events when things like this happen? Can you take us through what kind of review you might do?
Like with any incident that occurs, whether it's inside the prison? Like with any incident that occurs either inside the prison or outside, we always do an after action and we review everything that occurs and see if there's anything that we can do better.
Okay, we'll take just a couple more, yes.
Early on, I heard mentioned, I'm not sure if it was yourself or one of the other speakers, possibly manslaughter, charging the suspect with that. But then District Attorney Allen mentioned that the appropriate charges would be filed as that time comes. So are we saying the suspect is being charged with manslaughter or not necessarily that? And piggyback off of that, is murder being considered in any capacity?
Yeah, do you want to take this, District Attorney? Oh, and again, the question is, what are the charges that are being filed, and is murder a possible charge?
So thank you for that question. I think it's probably a question that a lot of people have. As the police agency is investigating it, they will see what charges they have probable cause for. That's the threshold that they need to get to, and then they'll send it to our office for review of whatever the arrest charges are, and those will be what we file on. I can tell you that anytime we have a case like this, when we're working in conjunction with the police department, we are looking at all possible charges, potentially even including murder or homicide charges.
It's part of the investigation at this time, so I can't release that information right now. Get a final question, Ashley?
The suspect previously facing other charges of a police officer, someone had mentioned that law enforcement had known the suspect previous to this incident. Could anything be done differently in regards to this incident happening?
Yeah, I'll let District Attorney Allen take the question, which was basically, what was the known history, and could anything differently have been done to approach or make contact, check the welfare of this suspect?
So Ashley, thank you for that question. As it relates to process, it's probably a better question for our law enforcement folks that are out actually on the street. As it relates to any prior history, we need to make sure that we don't say something that can impact our ability to prosecute. But we will certainly be looking at his criminal history. As everybody should know, we do have habitual criminal charges in the state of Colorado. So if there are appropriate prior convictions, we will be looking at that for potential charges as well. Okay? Thank you.
Did the clerk or I'm sorry, one more time? Yeah, I don't have that information. If we are aware of that, again, it's part of the investigation, so the details we won't be able to comment on exactly at this time of who exactly may possibly, been involved in that. So we can't get into that right now. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to dismiss our dignitaries. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. This will conclude our press conference, so you all are dismissed. And again, we'll have media packets. I believe Jen Schrader with the city in the back has those. Again, it'll have everyone's titles.